Hello and welcome to the long-awaited, long-promised video. You have all been so patient of me finally doing a little bit of mending and tailoring of my wardrobe so that the things in my wardrobe are actually usable and actually fit me. Radical concept, I know, but that's what we're here today to do. We have 3 categories that we're going to go through. We're going to pick out everything that needs tailoring and we're going to head to the tailor and get those done. We've got a little bit of mending to do, just a tiny little bit, but obviously it's going to make all the difference in both how these items look, but also their longevity in my wardrobe, I think. So important. And third is just the TLC category, a bit of depilling, a bit of ironing, all of those kind of tasks that maybe we put off, but makes a huge difference. So that's what we've got in store for you today. However, I want to make one thing very clear before we dive in, and that is that I am someone who did not really grow up knowing how to take good care of my clothes. For a long time when I was younger, I definitely did, I think, kind of see clothes as sort of disposable. And that is definitely a mindset that I have been growing out of for a very long time. However, it's only in the last, I want to say 5 years that I've really started to try to learn how to actually take good care of my clothes. And it's such a big topic and I'm still very much learning. So just be so forewarned that this is not a tutorial, it's not a guide, it's not a how-to. Instead, it's a 34-year-old woman trying to figure this stuff out as she goes. And I will say one thing that has definitely hastened my appreciation for just how much time goes into creating all of the clothes that we have. So many resources to both make and then to get to us. I already kind of knew all of that, but I feel like I have really embodied that knowledge ever since I started knitting. For example, this Stay Toasty scarf that I knit myself not too long ago. It's not very big, it's not very impressive, but it took me a good 20 hours to knit. And so I think learning to knit has definitely broadened my perspective on how far I'm willing to go to take care of the items that I love. And so even though I haven't yet had to fix any of my knits, I have been going on a little deep dive, a little bit of a rabbit hole of learning how to actually take care and mend your knits, which excitingly actually led me to the sponsor of today's video, Craftsy. Craftsy is an online learning community with over 2,000 easy to follow classes led by knowledgeable and friendly experts in a whole host of different fields, from knitting to pottery and everything you can think of in between. Now, I had heard of Craftsy before, but what I was so excited to discover is that it's not just a creator community. There's also a whole bunch of mending content on there too. And one class that I have literally just binge watched, it was riveting content truly, was called Darn It, How to Repair Your Knitting by Jennifer Raymond. And in this 2-hour long class, although it is broken down very helpfully into smaller segments, Jennifer goes over all of the different ways that you can take care of your knitting and to repair it. And my mind was blown when she spoke about the difference between darning and reweaving. I won't go so far as to say that I'm looking forward to the day that I get a hole in one of my knit items, but I do feel a whole lot more confident that when that day does inevitably come, I'll actually know how to take care of it and what to do. Obviously, Craftsy also has a whole host of how to knit content, guides for knitting your first sweater, which is something I might be getting into quite soon. So if you'd like to get creating or mending with me over at Craftsy, I got a deal for you. The first 1,000 of you to click the link in the description box below will get a full year of premium Craftsy membership for only $1.49 USD. Valid for new members only. And thank you so much, Craftsy, for sponsoring this portion of today's video. Now let's just dive right in and start with heading to the tailor. And I suppose we need to start with trying on all of these clothes that are in my wardrobe but do not fit me. Firstly, we have a pair of my favorite pants, my most worn pants. I love these so much, but they're a bit too big for me at the moment. And it's not a cool oversized too big, it's annoying too big. There's actually quite a few pairs of these Cole jeans from Lucy & Yak in this pile. They're my favorite pants. I love how they look on me. I love all the colors you can get. I just love wearing them. So I suppose let's just run through them because there's a handful of them. These, I just need to get taken in a good inch or two. So these next 3 Lucy & Yak Cole jeans are all pants that I have bought secondhand so far this year, but I haven't worn them. I haven't added them to my wardrobe because I knew from the get that I would need to get them tailored. Obviously, you can see here now that these pants are just too long for me. So that's going to be a consistent theme here with the Cole jeans. I need to get these taken up. Only an inch or two, but it makes all the difference. And then these are the same size as the previous ones. They're a little big on me, but not not to an annoying extent. How glorious is this pattern and these colours though? I'm so excited to finally be able to wear them. Our third pair, I'm so excited. Putting these on, I just cannot wait for, you know, in a week or so when I get these back and I get to add all these to my wardrobe because they're just amazing. They're amazing. Anyway, as you can see, again, I hope these are just too long for me. I end up standing on them even when I'm wearing shoes. A little bigger than the previous, but not as big as the first. It's very weird. Lucy and Yak, you're sizing. So these I do sort of feel like I might want to get tailored around the waist. I don't need it as much as the first one, but I do need it more than the second. I'm so excited about these. So these are actually the size smaller than the other ones. And they fit me so much better. Now I'm starting to think I should probably just get them all tailored, the previous 3 around the waist. These aren't quite as long as the others, but I think they do still need just a little bit taken up at the bottom there. Next up we have these silk workwear pants. Now I have a whole bunch of silk workwear pants, all of which I've purchased secondhand. I think these must have been an older style because most of their other ones have these like pull tabs on the side where you can kind of like adjust the waistband yourself. I feel like I'm going to say this a lot. These were always just like a tad too big for me, but right now they're just a lot too big for me to the point where they're kind of unwearable. Like, I mean, see what I mean? There's a lot of room for activities in here. And like, I'm not a tailor. I'm not a seamstress. I'm not really a sewer at all. I don't know kind of like the limits, all the kind of like boundaries of getting things tailored. Like, is this too much? Is this fine? And I don't know if that's going to affect the shape of the rest of the pants. So I'm going to take these along and see what she thinks. And then finally on our agenda is some pants that are very summer pants. I've kind of missed the window, but I want to get them done now so that they're ready for next summer. These linen pants are just glorious. I love them so much. I love this color. I think this might be my favorite color. Now these pants, this whole brand, their whole kind of concept is that they have very adjustable clothing. So these are a little big for me, but like you can adjust that. What I cannot adjust is the length of them. These I also got secondhand. I got them from Mutual Muse, so I didn't even have to spend money. I got them through my credit. But I did get them like nearly a year ago, I think. And I have tried to wear them a few times and I wore them to work and I don't know how, but basically I just like got caught on them and nearly tripped over flat on my face. Like, it was quite scary. So I haven't worn them since. So I don't know. It's hard to kind of show you, but I hope you can see by the pooling just how long these are. So I think I just need to get them taken up a couple of inches and then they'll be entirely wearable. I still want to have like the length and like the drama of them, but just in a safe way. So these were getting taken up. And then these are literally the exact same pant, the exact same size, just in a different color. I do think these are maybe slightly less long, but they're still just too long. Yeah, you can see there just like how long they are on me. And even with some chunky shoes, it's like my toe gets caught in the front, which is where it gets super dangerous, I think. Okay, so I think that's everything. All pretty simple adjustments that need to be done, but I think they're going to make the world of difference because currently pretty much all of these pants are or feel kind of unwearable to me. So let's go see my tailor. So it's been a week since we visited the tailor, and yesterday she called me and said my clothes were ready to pick up and they're here. However, we have a little bit of chatting to do before we get to the try-ons. Basically, how many things I wanted tailored and what I wanted done was just a little bit out of my budget. Now, I want to make it clear that I'm not saying that this tailor is overcharging. I'm not trying to undervalue her labor or her skills at all. However, I, as someone who doesn't really know much about adjusting clothes and has no skills in that whatsoever, I just didn't really have much of a sense of how much everything was going to cost. And I realized pretty quickly that it was going to be more than what I was expecting to pay or what I had like mentally prepared for, you know? And I don't know, man, money has a way of clarifying things for you pretty quick. And immediately I knew which pants I wanted to prioritize basically, and which ones maybe didn't matter to me quite as much as I thought they did. So I ended up asking her to work on 5 pairs of pants, which is obviously still a hell of a lot of tailoring and 5 items of clothing that I haven't been able to wear otherwise. But I did take out from her pile 2. I took out these kind of cream, light tan kind of coloured pants that we tried on. These are the linen ones. The other pair of pants were these silk workwear pants in navy. Now, I have really enjoyed wearing these pants. At the end of the day, these pants are basically like at least a full size, if not 2 full sizes too big for me at this point. And so spending $40 to get them tailored to fit me around the waist just didn't feel worth it in the moment. So with those off the list, I asked her to carry on getting tailored 5 pairs of pants, the 4 Cole jeans and the 1 pair of green linen pants. So I needed the length taken up on 4 pairs of pants and the waist taken in on 4 pairs of pants, which is obviously quite a bit of work. And so to get the 5 pairs of pants tailored with those 8 different adjustments kind of across them, cost me $220. Again, not trying to insinuate that she is not worth that money, because I've got the pants now. I'm actually already wearing one of them. I couldn't help it. Like, they just look so neat and so good, and yet they fit me so good. So really, like, what more could I ask for? Like, yeah, it's quite a lot of money. $200. Now, obviously, all of these pants were purchased secondhand. So, I mean, I still have not paid for these pants what I would have paid if I'd purchased them all new. I'm still at like half the cost, but $200 is a lot to shell out. And so I'm aware that these are things that I probably could have figured out how to do on my own. But here's the thing. I genuinely believe that it is worth, when and where we can, it can be worth investing in the skills and labor of somebody who knows how to do something well, especially when we're supporting small local businesses, you know? Because yeah, maybe I could have figured out how to do these, especially like the taking it up, but I just know that I wouldn't have been able to do it well, and I would have found it stressful. Anyway, with all that said, I think it's time that we try these on. Are you excited? I am. Look, I don't even have to wear a belt anymore. They just fit me perfectly and so neat. Her tailoring at the back there. I truly couldn't be happier. They just fit me now. Isn't that amazing? What a concept. Pants that fit. Like I said, I have been wearing these ones today because I've missed them. They're not too tight. There's still like that little bit of give, but they just fit. They just fit. It truly doesn't get any better than that. They just fit. That's what you want, isn't it? That's what you want. Thank you, Mrs. Lee. I love you. Oh my God. Are these my new favorite pants? I think they are. And how good do they look with this top as well? Like, oh, I just cannot wait. I cannot wait to just wear the shit out of these. Oh, they're so pretty. They're so pretty. And now they actually fit me. Not too tight, just comfortable, just right. Truly like a Goldilocks situation. I couldn't be happier. Like, look at that. Look at that. These are how these pants are supposed to fit me. Just perfectly. Just like a little snug, but like still some room to move, you know? Oh, truly so happy. Okay, yet another pair. Oh, and I forgot to mention too, like the length. Obviously on the last pair, the green and blue pink pair, she also took up the length for me. So they're still nice and long. Like she does such a good job of knowing that too. Like I wouldn't know exactly where I'm supposed to take them up to. I know that sounds silly, but you know what? It's not silly. Like that's part of the skill of tailoring, is understanding like exactly what you're aiming for. So for the last pair and for this pair, we did both the length and the waist. Do you like these ones? What do you think? I think you like these ones even more, huh? Hey, Holly. I don't know. I feel like we're getting very samey because they're all literally the same pair of pants, just in different colors. But we do have one more pair of the Cole jeans, and then we've got the green pants, the linen pants. Our fourth and final pair of the Cole jeans. Just thinking back to like how much of my arm I could just like easily fit into my pants and move around. And for a while I was trying to convince myself that all I needed was a belt. And I kept wondering why I was so uncomfortable all the time. This is what pants are supposed to fit like. I know it was a lot of money to dish out, $200 for 5 pairs of pants, $220, but it has taken them from barely wearable to very frustrating to wear to just like easy, obvious throw on essential pieces in my wardrobe. And that is an investment I think is worth making. We do have one other pair of pants though, the linen trousers. Let's have a look at those. I'm wearing so much green right now. So the green linen trousers, obviously they just needed the length taken up a little bit, a lot of it. I did say to her that I really liked the drama of the length. I just didn't want to have to trip over. And so you can see here that like without shoes, they are like the pants are still touching the ground just. But before it's like I would stand here and I would easily stand on top of the pants, even my toes on the front of the pants. That's just not happening now. Which means that when I put shoes on, especially with my chunky platforms, which most of my shoes are, they're definitely going to be a much more manageable, much more wearable length for me, which is good news. So I'm really happy with how these turned out. Obviously the beige ones that I ended up not getting tailored this time around are the exact same pant. I have always liked these green ones more just because of the colour. Like, I love this green. Whereas beige, like, I get that it's a handy neutral. Obviously, the handy neutrals aren't really my thing though. So I think I'm going to keep the beige linen pants for now. And like I said, just kind of see next summer if I am feeling a draw to wear them. And if I am, I'll go take them and get them tailored up, because I think the length was only going to be like $20 or $30. It was just kind of doing all of this at once with so many pants getting the length and the waistband that it did add up quite quickly. So that's the plan. Right now I have 5 pairs of pants that were not wearable that now are, 3 of which I hadn't even added to my index yet. So that is the next step. We need to take some photos so that I can add them to my index so that you and Ray and I can all start styling them. So I have got some questions over the last few months about like how I go about taking photos for my index. Basically, I just have one of those kind of like removable sticky hooks up here behind the door. I chose this spot because it's just on a blank wall, and you know, the door shuts here normally, so it's like, I don't know, it's out of the way. Obviously, I try to do it during the day when I can get as much light in here as I can, because our apartment doesn't have that much direct sunlight. And so for pants, I'm just going to use like clip coat hangers. I'm going to clip them up and I'm going to just take a photo. I know some people prefer to like lie everything down on the ground, and I do think they can look nicer, but I feel like you have to put in a lot more work to get them to look nicer. For me, I'm not aiming for perfection when I'm doing these photos. I'm not aiming for like stock photo quality kind of images. The aim is less for individual items to look perfect and more for your overall closet that you've catalogued to look consistent. And I have found my index, like my catalogue, to be perfectly usable. So I think hanging's easier. I'm going to keep hanging. And obviously I've had these pants for a little while, but I wanted to wait until they were tailored to take the photos to add them to my index. Both because I knew I wasn't really going to be wearing them until they were tailored, but also because, especially with the length, but even with the waist, like it does change how they look a little bit, you know? So I just clip them up and I try to kind of like clip them at about an even distance, and just to make the waistband straight. I make sure they're buttoned and zipped, and then I just try to kind of like, I don't know, neaten them out, kind of neaten the crotch up a little bit. I don't fuss with them for too long or anything, but just enough to where they look reasonably neat. Like, that's fine. Then I'm just literally using my phone camera and I just try to take the photo straight on. I'm going to take all the photos. I kind of try to batch the tasks. So I'm going to take the other photos before I do anything with those photos on Indyx. Okay, so now that we've taken the photos, as you saw, I don't take a long time. I'm not particularly precious with it. But now that we have the photos, let me just show you what I do from here. So I just find the photos that I've taken and I pick out the one that I like the best or that I feel best represents the item. And then essentially the first thing I do is just crop out the coat hanger. And if it cuts off a tiny little bit of the waistband, I don't mind. I would rather not have the coat hanger on my index. And I just kind of crop it in to make the pants kind of like the whole of the photo. As for adjusting, often because, as I said, we don't get a huge amount of direct sunlight, I do just kind of brighten the image just a little. Sometimes I don't do anything. Yeah, so for this one, I'm just going to brighten it very, very slightly and I'm done. And the same thing for each one. Again, I kind of batch the tasks. So I do all of this for all of the photos that I've taken. And one more. I think for these final ones, I am going to go with the flash photo, actually. I think it kind of brings out the flowers a little bit better. From there, I just go into my Indyx app and you select to add an item from library. Select the item. Indyx kind of does its little background removal thing and you just put in some of the details. Nice and easy. Okay. And then because I've got like the paid insider program, I can rearrange my items, and I do. I kind of put them, I have a system in my head. And so I put all my pants together and I put them in roughly like weight category, like how heavy things are. And now all of my cold jeans can live together happily. That's it. They are now added to my index, which is great news. And now I just get to enjoy these pants. I'm so happy. So the tailoring went so well. I am now finally feeling emotionally prepared to get stuck into some mending. Now, actual mending is definitely like a whole range of skills that I have never learned. So I'm very much a newbie mender, and honestly, I'm scared. I've been putting this off. I think this section here is probably the reason this video has taken me so long. I want to start learning how to actually take care of my clothes, not just like how to wash them or how to store them, but how to fix them when something goes wrong. So some of you might remember that last year, literally while I was filming a vlog, I was holding Ollie and a claw got stuck in the thread of one of my favorite jumpers. So it took me a little while to find the pull again, which I just think is really funny for something that at the time when it happened, I thought had basically ruined my favorite jumper. And so I feel like I've already learned something just in this moment, you know? Like, I'm not being funny, but that little thread there, that's the pull that I thought had ruined my jumper. So it's definitely come a decent way out, but it's not even like a full stitch. It's like one of the plies, I guess, of one of the threads, if that makes sense. But lucky for me, I have you, lovely people. And so many of you told me in the comments of that video that I just need a crochet hook and I can fix it. And I do feel like now that I've been knitting, I would have a better sense of like how to like kind of pull back in, maybe like a thread, like a full thread that had been pulled out. So I do feel like learning to knit has prepared me for this moment. Having said that, like I just said, it's not the full stitch that's been pulled out. It's like one ply of the stitch. And so for that reason, I'm not really sure like how to fix that truly. But what I feel like I can do is just use a crochet hook to kind of pull the pulled thread to the back. I can at least do that, right? And that means that it will be a lot less likely to be caught or pulled on more. And also you won't be able to see it then. I feel like that's a very simple solution, right? And so I do have a couple of just like cheap little crochet hooks that I've had around since I've been learning to knit. And these are the two smallest. So we'll just have to make do with those. Okay, I've got the thread. There we go. Is that it? I don't even know how much of this you're going to be able to see. But basically, I've just pulled that thread to the back here. So it's on the back side where it's not going to be in the way. It's not going to get snagged. And you can't see it. My jumper looks brand new. That's wild. I cannot believe that I've been putting this off for that long. And that literally took me like 20 seconds. Look, I know that people who are better at this would actually like be able to weave that back in properly or something, but like, I'm so happy. And I can't get over how long I've been putting this off for, and now it's done. It's done. And sure, maybe I'll have to do that again. It might like slip forward or something. But for someone who's never mended anything in her life, not really. I'm going to take it. I'm taking it as a win. And with that, I didn't tell you at the beginning of this section that we had 2 things to mend because I was scared. I was scared that I wouldn't be able to do this one and then I wouldn't want to do the second one. But we've had some success, so we're going to give the second one a go. And this one is definitely like a bigger mending job. Basically, it's this just red cotton, like lightweight knit jumper that I got at Savers a while ago. And although I tried it on and everything, I clearly didn't inspect it quite as well as I should have, because in the underarm there is a massive hole. Now, I have done a little bit of research and I've watched a few like darning tutorials and I found them a little overwhelming, especially because so many of them have like really neat little holes. And this one isn't a neat little hole, it's a messy big one. But I did end up stumbling across this video, which I'll put a screenshot here and I'll also link it in the description box below for you. It's how to mend underarm holes in knitwear, sweaters and cardigans by Repair What You Wear. And this is the first of these kind of tutorials and videos that I've stumbled across that made me think, oh, maybe I can do this. And so even though my hole is a bit bigger than the hole in the video, it kind of looks quite similar. Obviously it's in the underarm as well. And then it's even kind of similar in terms of the shape. Like my hole here kind of ladders down here. It's starting to ladder, which means that the knitting is kind of coming apart and it will keep laddering down this way. And that's why you can see at the kind of bottom of the hole, there's like strings going across, which means that I need to kind of secure some loose stitches. I know this again now from my knitting. Now I do think mine's also starting to ladder on the other side as well, but I feel like this tutorial has given me enough information to at least ensure that this isn't going to get any worse. It's not a super fancy jumper. It's not a jumper I spent a lot of money on, but I know that if I just redonate this to Savers, it's probably just going to end up in landfill because most of us don't like to buy clothes that we have to work on. I get it because I'm the same. And so even if this just ends up being something that I just wear around the house, like that's fine. I just want to make sure this hole isn't going to get any worse. That's my goal. The bar's on the floor basically, but I'm trying to take this not only as an opportunity to save an item of clothing that might otherwise end up in landfill, but also just as an opportunity for me to start learning this stuff. So I'm just going to start by turning this inside out and do my best. That's all we can do. Oh, I'm getting nervous now. That's okay. We're just practicing. We're just going to do our best. She made it look so easy in the video. I suppose that's the thing about these kind of skills, isn't it? You just do them and you get better. I've never done it before, so I can't expect to be very good. I feel like I'm sort of getting the hang of it. Like this side of the hole, I feel like is looking a lot better than the first side. I mean, I do feel like I got better as I went. This first half looks a lot messy. I know it's hard to see because it's red thread, but I do feel like I got a little bit better. This second half of the hole does seem neater to me. Let's take a look at what it actually looks like on the other side. Okay. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's not too bad, right? And like, I don't think the goal is for something to look perfect, but that looks a lot better than it did. And I think at least now it's very unlikely that this is going to get worse, which makes this sweater wearable. And as we've said, that's the goal. Two things I've been putting off for so long. And I know I didn't do them perfectly. I know these are skills I'm still developing, but I now have two jumpers that aren't ruined. Not that they were ever ruined, but like they're not going to get any worse. And they're wearable. That's the most important thing. And I'm so proud of myself. I'm just so proud of myself. I know this, to people who grew up doing this or have been doing this sort of stuff for a long time, I'm sure this seems really silly. But as someone who has just like never attempted something like this, like I want this to not feel like a big scary thing that I put off for 6 months. I want this to feel like part of my laundry, like just part of what I do to care for the clothes that I own. And I feel a long way away from like the confidence and the skills that I'll need to actually truly be able to live that life. But like I'm starting to live it. I'm starting to create that foundation and that feels really good. Okay, now that we've done the big scary thing, let's just go do the really chill fun thing, which is basically debobbling a bunch of my jumpers. I've just realized I look like I'm kneeling down to pray before I go to bed. That's not what's happening. There are drawers under my bed and this is where I keep my knitwear. So welcome to our bed. It's time for us to go through these drawers under this side, my side of the bed, to figure out which items of my knitwear need a little bit of TLC. So let me start by just getting out all of like my big jumpers because I've got a few. Obviously, got a lot of green, bit of purple, bit of blue. Okay, that's everything. These are all my big jumpers. Now, although these are my big jumpers, most of them are cotton. Cotton is absolutely far and away my favorite fabric to wear. Having said that, there are a few jumpers here that are wool, I think the ones that are wool are all merino wool. And so I think those in particular are probably going to need a little bit of TLC. Is there only 3 of them? I can already see that this Scotch and Soda jumper that I found secondhand at Savers, I've been wearing quite a lot because it's really warm. It definitely needs some depilling. Oh my goodness. Let's see what else needs a bit of love. I think for a long time, I've definitely been someone who feels like once an item starts to look not new, that it's old and needs to go. But like I'm looking at this jumper, which I got a year or 2 ago, and it's one of my most worn items. I love it. I love it so much. I got so much wear out of it last year. I'm sure I'll get plenty of wear out of it again this winter. I've already been wearing it this winter. It's just beautiful. But you know, it's starting to have signs of wear. It's still completely fine, but it's not looking brand new anymore. And I really want to get myself out of the mindset that things have to look new to be wearable, to be like acceptable in polite society, you know? I don't know, I've just been thinking like, I love this jumper. Like I love it. And I don't know, I know it sounds a little corny and maybe I'm reaching a little bit too far, but like when you say you love something, there's an implied level of care to that love, you'd hope, at least, you know? And so the idea that I would love this only while it looks brand new. That doesn't seem like love to me. It seems like infatuation. It seems like a little bit of a crush. And I don't want to have crushes on my clothes. I want to love my clothes. And that means that yes, I love how they look. I love how they fit. I love how I feel in them, but also that I love them in return. I'm just realizing how this sounds out loud, but I hope you know what I mean. And obviously there are things that we can do like depilling and mending to help an item continue to look fresh, like, you know, nice. But ultimately at the end of the day, I think a big part of this for me is also just learning to love items that don't look new. I have the 2 essential tools of the trade, a cup of tea and a little clothes shaver. Is that what these are called? Oh, and Ollie wants to help. So I suppose I just get started, huh? Like obviously this is a speckled jumper, but can you see just like how pilly it is? To be fair, I have been wearing this quite a lot. You can definitely see that a lot on the arm too. Just all of that texture is just like pills. Should we make a little mound? See how much fluff we have by the end? Okay, well that's from like a quarter of this jumper. Oh my goodness. Okay, the front is looking a whole lot better. I mean, the perfectionist in me wants to keep going, but I think that's more than enough just to tidy things up. Anyway, I'm curious to see how much fluff we got from just the first half. We'll add it to our little ball over here. Okay, that's our little stash for the first side. Oh, and I should not forget about my cup of tea. Very important. It's kind of funny looking from like the front side to the back side right now, like just how different they are. Like this is from the front. We've done this sleeve and this is the back of the other. So like, oh my God, it looks hairy. Oh, wow. I did let this go a little far, didn't I? Well, we're going to fix it. Okay. I think that's the Scotch and Soda jumper done. It looks so much better. Okay, let's see how much fluff we ended up with at the end of the day. I think this is by far going to be the most, which is good. Hopefully the others are going to be a little easier. Who's next? This one's got a little bit, but not a lot. Honestly, I could leave this, like this kind of level doesn't really bother me too much. But I think if we just give it a little bit of a buzz now, it'll mean that I just get to wear it all winter without having to think about it. Look at that. Already so much better. That took me like 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Amazing. Oh, we got more off this than I thought we would. I'm really impressed by this jumper. I mean, it's been wearing very well. I have worn it several times since I got it secondhand. And like, yeah, there was a little bit of pilling, not enough to bother me. But now that we've depilled it, it looks, I don't know about brand new, but it looks like it's been worn once or twice. Not like a handful of times and that it's secondhand, you know? So good. Okay, up next, my red Obus sweater. Why do I keep saying sweater? Ever since I got into knitting and I've been watching knitting vlogs and I hear everybody talk about their sweaters, I'm calling them sweaters. Jumper. Oh, wow. I didn't really think of this jumper as needing any depilling. There wasn't like big blobs on it anywhere, but just running the shaver over that front part just kind of brought it back to life. Just taking that fuzz and that slight wear out of it. It almost looks new and I love this jumper. I feel like it might be a bit harder to see with this one because it really didn't really need all that much, but this is a side that I haven't shaved at all and it's just a bit fluffy, a little bit bumpy. This is the side that I have and it doesn't look that different. It just doesn't have the fuzziness and like the cables all look just that little bit more defined. Surely this isn't full. Oh my goodness, it is. It's packed in there. Okay, for a jumper I didn't think I needed to do. We actually got quite a lot off. I think we ended up with more from the red than we did the green. A huge success if you ask me. Can you believe that as I was sitting down to film this outro, Ollie's claw got caught in my jumper again? Ollie, what have you got against this jumper, huh? But we know how to fix it. So why don't we let's just fix it. It's like magic. It's like magic. It's gone. Oh, that is so funny. It is so funny too that this has happened to this jumper twice, that it happened sitting down to film the outro for this video. But it's also funny how easy that is to fix. And I had been putting it off for so long. It just makes you wonder what else you're putting off that really isn't that hard, you know? Probably so many things, so many things. I do feel like that is one of the big lessons for me in all of this, that I think growing up and just having been someone up until the point of being 34 that hasn't learnt how to do all of this stuff, I think I have just made it feel so much bigger and harder in my head than maybe a lot of it really needs to be. Now, the other thing that I did want to talk about in this video, and it kind of didn't slot in anywhere else quite neatly, having said that, I don't feel like I have like solidified like an opinion. I just wanted to chat about it because it's something I've struggled with, and that comes back to my body and the fact that over the course of my adult life, my body has fluctuated and changed so much. And as someone who has worked very hard to kind of like deprogram from all of like the diet culture stuff that I was brought up with growing up in the 90s, to deprogram from all of like the really toxic, horrible judgment that was put onto me about bodies, and especially when it comes to size. I have also had to learn not to place too much judgment on myself when certain clothes no longer fit for whatever reason. And I think for that reason, I sometimes have felt like I don't really like own my clothes, because obviously I'm someone who purchases lots secondhand. I also donate or resell a lot of my clothes, and there is something to the idea that clothes that haven't been tailored or mended or like touched, really, clothes that are essentially in as new as possible condition, are more likely to be repurchased and to find a new home. Like, it's a little bit easier for clothes that are like haven't been reworked, especially when it comes to reselling, but I think for donations as well. And so I think for that reason, I have kind of felt this lack of true ownership over my clothes. Like, they're not really mine. And instead, I just have them for a little while. Instead of owning them, it's almost like I'm borrowing them. It's almost like in my head, I more have this library mentality with my clothes. And in the same way that you take extra good care of library books and you don't highlight them or dog ear them in the way that you might with your own, I feel like that about my own clothes, the clothes that I have spent my hard-earned money on. And I do definitely think that like an element of this mentality is definitely useful. Like the idea of taking good care of our clothes so that if and when we do pass them on, they're in good condition, but also just so that we can use them for as long as possible. Like, that's a good mentality to have. The mentality of kind of like thinking about recirculating items that aren't working for you anymore, a good mentality to have. But I suppose I just don't quite know where that line is. Like, so much of the conversation around like the longevity of our clothes in our wardrobe is about like tailoring things to fit your body as if your body is static, as if it never changes. And maybe for some people that's true, but I feel like for so many of us it just isn't. And so that kind of reality is just an entire fantasy to me, which means that the solutions of tailoring and, you know, making your clothes fit you perfectly, that is also a fantasy solution for me. And it's not even that I'm concerned that I'm going to spend like, I mean, I spent $220 on getting my pants tailored in this video. It's not even so much that I'm worried about spending that money and then my body changing, so then I've lost that money, because I don't really think of it in that way. That's not the thing. It's literally that I feel like I'm not allowed, that I don't really own these clothes, that they're not mine, that I don't have the right to them in that way. Now, obviously one solution is to prioritize getting clothes, whether new or secondhand, that are adjustable and fit you at lots of different sizes. And a lot of my clothing I have managed to do that with. But obviously not all of my clothes are adjustable. I don't even know if that's realistic. And even the ones that are adjustable aren't like infinitely adjustable. So I don't know. I suppose I thought through some of these thoughts in a letter to Belinda, my friend, one of my patrons. And she replied this really lovely thing of thinking of clothes as friends. What is the saying? Relationships are either for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, that kind of thing. And I did like that. But I suppose I would just love to hear any more thoughts that you might have. And I also just wanted to kind of have space for other people who might have similar feelings and conflicting feelings about tailoring our clothes when our bodies tend to fluctuate. And so my approach for a long time has just been to buy clothes that I feel good in, preferably secondhand, but obviously not always. Sometimes keep some items that might not fit me for later, but mostly to donate or resell clothes that aren't working for me in the moment. And so, yeah, I have kind of had this like a little bit of a circular wardrobe, I suppose, in a way. I suppose the other thing with just like storing clothes away for if and when they fit you again, I don't know about you, but I have found when my body changes, like the weight distribution and how things fit me also changes. So even if I end up being the same size I was at a different point, the way that clothes fit me is not the same. So lots of complex, messy kinds of feelings, but I mean, at the end of the day, we achieved so much in this video. We got 5 pairs of pants tailored, and we took some care of, whether it was just TLC or actual mending, of 5 jumpers. And there is something about spending that time with your clothes and actually working with your clothes and on your clothes with your hands, that there's something to it that feels intimate and tender. I feel like I have a stronger relationship to these clothes now, which I suppose does kind of help with the whole lack of sense of ownership thing that I've been feeling. So maybe that's part of the solution, you know, maybe part of the solution is by actually taking care of my clothes, tending to my clothes, I will feel more of a sense of ownership and relationship with these different items. I don't know. I kind of like that actually, you know? So I cannot wait to chat with you in the comments below. A big thank you as always to my lovely patrons, and especially big thank you to Livia, Haley, and Belinda. I hope you enjoyed your time. I look forward to chatting with you, and I will see you next week. Until then, so much love. Bye.